Interstellar was an instant hit for sci-fi and drama fans alike. But what should you do if you want more like Christopher Nolan's bare-hearted blockbuster? If you haven't experienced Disney's cult classic take on secretive science vessels yet, stay tuned. Christopher Nolan screened the right stuff for his production crew before filming Interstellar, and he considers it a nearly perfect film. It's also an excellent touchstone for fans looking to understand the emotional drive behind Interstellar. Clocking in at over 3 hours, the 1983 adaptation of Tom Wolfe's non-fiction exploration of the astronaut program asks for a lot from its audience, but rewards them with some of the finest aerial footage in film history. While Tom Wolfe's thick, journalistic work balanced the real-life characters with the danger they faced, the movie focuses on those risks. It's a movie that bends the truth and helped make a celebrity out of Chuck Yeager, while underselling the achievements of John Glenn and the crew of the Mercury 7. Still, the combination of humanity and unmatched technological drive makes The Right Stuff a must-watch for science fiction fans. Between the unbridled machismo is the story of our species itself. As both The Right Stuff and Interstellar prove, when faced with a dangerous riddle, humanity will not only find the answer, we'll do it with style.
What are you talking about, Hal?
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
It's hard to add Stanley Kubrick's science fiction masterpiece to this list without feeling like it's too obvious. Most people have seen this movie. It's a go-to reference for homage and cheap parody, but 2001: A Space Odyssey earned its place in history for a reason. The film treats space with the beauty and the terror it deserves, and its oddly hopeful ending pairs well with the optimism intrinsic to Interstellar. Kubrick worked with science fiction author Arthur C. Clarke to create a story that uses silence to bring clarity, carried by the riddle of the monolith and stunning visual effects and sets. Recreating our galaxy in mysterious and familiar ways, Kubrick frames Jupiter's moons like isolated gods, bringing with them wonder and despair. The shots of Frank Poole jogging in a centrifuge-powered loop within the Discovery spacecraft are understated, while an earlier shot makes a stewardess's mundane behavior into magic. In 2001, life in space feels natural, not action-packed, building a contrast that gives the movie its acid trip reputation. The trippy climax plays on Clarke's specialties, raising a wordless but profound series of questions about what's next for our species. The ending may be confusing, but its hopeful notes regarding our rebirth and space are clear. Stanislaw Lem's novel can be as hard to describe as the sentient ocean it depicts. Solaris depends on who's interacting with it. The Polish novel lost some of its themes when translated to English, and all 3 film adaptations further water down its message. Although both Steven Soderbergh and Andrei Tarkovsky's adaptations converge on the same point Nolan rediscovers in Interstellar, space is humanity's darkest mirror, and the last and most perilous place we can go to find ourselves. While Soderbergh's film is worth watching, Tarkovsky's 1972 version of Solaris remains supreme. Although Tarkovsky wasn't satisfied with his film, he came close to giving his sci-fi lament the depth it needed. Solaris cannot be humanized, and it can't be understood in any normal way. But it can be remembered, and the impact that has on a human mind can rearrange a person down to their soul. Tarkovsky's Solaris is overwhelmingly contemplative, and its themes are blurry, but it does give clues on how to follow its threads. Film School Rejects has a useful guide on how Solaris frames memory with all its loneliness, in contrast to the actual truth. Interstellar draws from the same timeless ocean as Solaris, but injects hope into its story with warmer cinematography and pure human emotion. Released in 1972 in the shadow of both Solaris and 2001: A Space Odyssey, Silent Running is often overlooked. It's easy to be driven away by its heavy-handed environmentalism, and it's not as scientifically accurate as its predecessors. Where Silent Running thrives, however, is in reminding the audience how to love the world around us. The emotional toll the film takes on viewers willing to give it a chance is what makes it special. Silent Running focuses on Freeman Lowell, a biologist played by Bruce Dern. After Earth has been drained of nature, corporations have built small space arks to maintain some of our forests and fauna. But the corporations cut funding for these refuges during the film, driving Lowell to rebellion. His protests turn violent, and his victory is bittersweet. It's on-the-nose stuff, but Dern's performance tugs at our souls to remember how the environment nurtured us. Silent Running also lays the foundation for one charming interstellar subplot. Nolan's robots, Case and Tars, can trace their lineage back to the 3 service droids helping Lowell maintain his forest. just as Tars' dry loyalty and pre-programmed humor gradually make him into something more than a mere appliance. The robots' Huey, Dewey, and Louie's sacrifices make them part of the film's human experience. By the end, it's impossible to not empathize with their plight.
I colonized Mars.
In your face, Neil Armstrong.
Another easy pick, Ridley Scott's 2015 adaptation of Andy Weir's debut novel goes for the hardest science it can without making the audience's eyes glaze over. The Martian thrives on the same unstoppable hope that fuels The Right Stuff, yet somehow Mark Watney's plight feels more realistic, despite being purely fiction. Ridley cinematographer Darius Wolski, with the aid of both some stunning production design and NASA itself, turns a barren valley into a more than passable vision of Mars, pulling the audience into the story of a stranded astronaut. Watney's fight to survive and his dry, often absurdist humor make the audience root and weep for him. It's a meme that rescuing Matt Damon gets more expensive in each subsequent film, but Damon's warm and approachable take on Weir's good-humored botanist makes him worth the cost. If The Martian had been released a few years earlier or later, it would have become an even bigger science fiction touchstone. As it is, NASA's enduring love for the movie will keep it alive alongside Interstellar for decades to come. No one will ever claim that Michael Bay's Armageddon has any scientific accuracy. Even the movie's star, Ben Affleck, has problems with the movie's logic, yet the film still manages to show off the beauty and terror of space. Michael Bay received permission to film at the Kennedy Space Center, making NASA's space shuttle as much of a star as Bruce Willis and Steve Buscemi. That shuttle goes on to carry most of what we may liberally call a plot, and the sight of its familiar silhouette, bright against the deep space black, is guaranteed to stir the imagination. The story may be a mess, but buried somewhere inside of Armageddon are themes similar to those in Interstellar. In Armageddon, space is a mystery not easily tamed, while love can shift almost any mortal odds. That makes Armageddon one of Michael Bay's oh-so-slightly more thoughtful films, one that offers up almost touching moments of romance and familial love before things explode. Armageddon may not be high art, and it may have all the accuracy of a blindfolded archer after a six-pack of beer, but it remains a genuine joy to watch. Moon is an intriguing take on the loneliness present in any number of science fiction films, tying that sensation to a literal identity crisis. It's a little like Solaris and has many overt homages to Silent Running, a connection director Duncan Jones has discussed in interviews. But while Moon resembles other deep space adventures and plays with the same emotions those other ventures bring up, it also explores some real questions about how humanity could live long-term on the lunar surface. For science fiction junkies who love a little truth in their movies, the helium mining operation that Sam Rockwell's character oversees is based out of a bunker made from moon-produced materials. That's a real-world concept that astrophysicists and geologists were already discussing when Jones introduced his film to NASA, at the organization's request. Mooncrete is a slice of grimy futurism that makes Moon feel all the more relevant. Sam Rockwell's blue-collar stubbornness is an equally sturdy counterpart to McConaughey's trim farmer pretensions in Interstellar.
Vincent, were you programmed to bug me?
No, sir, to educate you.
Disney's bonkers cult classic is a pause in the evolutionary chain between Silent Running and its silent trio of robots and the geometric buddies of Interstellar, Case and Tars. The black hole introduces its cute robot, Vincent, along a crew of big-name 70 stars. The Roddy McDowell-voiced bot quickly steals the movie with his smarts and empathy. After all, Vincent figures out what's actually happening on the secretive science vessel at the edge of a black hole by simply caring about his fellow robot, Bob. Bob is barely hanging on, bullied by sentry machines and the terrifying robotic bodyguard Maximilian. But Bob also knows what Dr. Reinhardt did to the Spaceship Lab's original crew. It's some grim stuff from Disney's most experimental era. The black hole brings its namesake space-time object to life with some beautiful matte art and practical effects, although the results can't compare to the realism of Nolan's Interstellar. And the payoff is bizarre, bringing faith into the conversation about humanity's endurance, but the black hole sticks in the mind for good reason, with Maximilian's silent, murderous loyalty to Dr. Reinhardt making the movie's Robots Gone Bad storyline powerful enough to ensure that classic science fiction fans remain a little wary of robot sidekicks. It's sheer coincidence that 1997's Contact also has Matthew McConaughey in it, but this movie's method of blending science and faith makes it worth watching in addition to McConaughey's later sci-fi blockbuster. The film holds up, in no small part due to some great camera work. A deceptively simple hallway sequence uses mirrors to visually portray the character's fear of mortality and of loss, and the film's journey through space is a colorful showstopper that's still incredible. While some of the film feels as dated as Tom Skerritt's mustache, solid performances carry an emotional impact that remains timeless. John Hurt as a joyously eccentric billionaire, S.R. Haddon, lightens the movie's heavy emotional load, and a gentle performance by David Morse provides a bedrock of love and acceptance that turns Jodie Foster's first contact experience into something full of earnest hope.